Really excited to do this. And as a quick way to get started, give us a little brag about yourself. Share a little, quick
Sure.
60-second synopsis on your background, your career, what led you to where you're at today.
Sure. Yeah. So I'm Ashley Ring. I'm the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for FreeFlight Systems. We're an avionics manufacturer in the Dallas-Ft.Worth area, and I've been here for 9 years. I never set out to work in aviation or avionics or anything like that. It's nothing that anybody says, I want to, sell GPS sensors for a living. So it's been a really exciting journey. I started my career by answering phones at a small airport in New England, and just networked my way through into this role. I was doing trade show coordination and some marketing and social media things for the company, and then moved my way into inside sales. And now I run the entire sales and marketing team and contracts and support and customer service and business development. So it's really exciting. Yeah, it's a great company to work for. It's really changed a lot since I've been here, and we've had to remarket and rebrand ourselves a couple times as the climate changes in aerospace and aviation as a whole. So I've got to learn a lot. We went through an acquisition last year and were acquired by a strategic partnership, and I was part of that. So I've got to learn so many different dynamics of business and marketing and branding from all the different sectors, from selling direct to customers, which we've done before, to selling through unauthorized dealerships, but then also selling to military and an OEM program. So I have a lot of experience in all the different realms of it. It's an interesting job for sure.
Yeah, aviation seems to be one of those industries. Nobody really sets out to be like, I'm going to be in aviation unless they're going to be like a pilot or something. People just, all the people I've talked to, they just kind of find themselves in the industry.
Yes. And then once that you're in this industry, there's like an inside joke that you just change shirts, right? Nobody ever leaves aviation once that you come in, because there's so many different things that you can do within aviation, whether it's just be a pilot or a flight attendant or on the business and sales side and engineering side. So there's so many different jobs within this industry. So
Don't panic.
Cool.
I know I'm frozen over here.
That's okay.
My camera's being all wonky today. Whenever it's like right while I'm trying to podcast, and it's like, all right, you know what? I'm just not going to work right now. So we'll just try the normal.
Yeah, because you need it. Exactly.
Right. So in what are some of the unique dynamics of market? I know you've pivoted industries. Let's even just talk pre-corona. What are some of the unique nuances and approaches you've taken to selling to the aerospace aviation industries over the years?
Yeah. So we have specifically developed our channel so that we sell very high-end certified avionics products. So they're not like something that you can buy and like put into your aircraft yourself. You have to have like certifications and training, all that stuff. So we have deliberately built out a channel of dealers that sell for us and do installations and hold the warranties and do all of that. So we have deliberately built out this network around the world, right? So when I started here, we had around 60 customers, and now we have 2,600 customers that we sell to. And it's in every different facet. So we make sure that we have some folks in rotorcraft and some folks in GA and some folks that are just business jet. And then really capitalize on what their core competencies are, right? So not everybody is going to be good at the same thing, but because our products range so far, we have the unique opportunity to work with all of them. And that's been really, really interesting. We've also, I never refer to as us having competition, and I talk to my team a lot about that one of our selling things is I never want you to badmouth your competition. I think you're doing it wrong if your products don't stand for yourself. So I talk to my team a lot. I'm like, this is a small industry. They will know, right? They will, and you might work for them someday, or they might add us to something someday. So even in certain circumstances, I'm like, never badmouth them, never say anything negative about any of our competition. And in the end, we have been partners with really large organizations like Collins Aerospace and Honeywell and Raytheon because of our core values and our customer support and the way that we treat our industry peers. It's really important for us to have that set of integrity and those set of values internally on our teams and all of our teams in the company, so that we become that strategic partner for them long term, which is really good.
Yeah, I think that is really important for any salesperson. People don't realize how small the world is. And, you know, something as simple as like bad mouthing competition, or you find it happens a lot when I'm being sold to. People are talking without even prompting it a lot of the time. So that's fascinating that you really make a push for that, and leads to that phrase we had talked about, which was, I think you called it co-opetition?
Co-opetition. Yeah. Co-opetition. You know, aerospace is a huge industry, but at the same time, it's very small. So in that, there is always going to be opportunities for you to compete against your peers, or to see what different pieces of the puzzle that you all can put together to make a better product. And I think this is what is so the interesting part for me, is putting those pieces together to not only make our products successful, but make the customer and their aircraft flying experience successful. And you can't do it alone, right? You need everybody on board, and you need every little piece of the puzzle to make it work. So I think that's the most interesting part for me, is putting all of those people together and connecting all of those people and components together, but being the expert at the end of the day. And, you know, that's how that we've won so many sales, is because we know, right? We know what this person is doing. We know what this person is doing, and we're educated enough to put those pieces together for them.
If you were teaching another business development leader, another marketer, how to scale channels in the way that you have so successfully, I mean, you said you went from 60 to like 20, over 2,000 or something like that. Break that down a little bit more. What were some of the steps? What were some of the channels? What were some of the failures? And what's made that successful for the most part as well?
Sure. Yeah. So, we sent people on the road. So funny. I met my husband here at FreeFlight, and we met at work, obviously, but he was on the road for about 45 weeks of the year. It was like a lot of work. And it was just really boots on the ground. And I think that having a really good outside sales team and having a really good inside sales support is how that you get that, and how you build out the customer service part of it. Because when you look at salespeople, right, the outside salespeople are typically really, really great with relationships and in-person meetings, and have like a really dynamic personality, and they talk and take to dinners and go golfing and all these fun things. That's not the same people that are going to be really important to like the technical support of it, or, you know, entering orders and making sure that things go out on time, and, you know, helping manage the procurement side. So you need to have both, and you need to have a team that understands the value add of everybody on the team, and that understands that some things that everybody's good at different things, and having the patience for each people's different strengths and weaknesses is really how we've done that. The way that I've developed my team is I have dedicated outside sales reps, and I've dedicated inside sales reps, and my outside guys, I'm like, you call these inside people 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day to get the support that you need, and make sure that we're tracking all of these things, because you need to focus on what you're doing out there in the world, right? You need to focus on getting to the next customer, and
so keeping them in alignment,
and doing all that.
And just not to cut you off, but pause on that, or talk about that. What support wise, what kind of conversations are they having? How is inside supporting outside?
Yeah. So at the very beginning, you know, it was really about fact finding and figuring out, you know, okay, so he's at a dealer, right? What does this dealer actually work on? Is this a good fit for our company? Do we even want to work with them? So it was important as like that fact-finding mission. And then once that dealer was qualified in the field, the inside salesperson would be able to turn back around and get the paperwork and get the agreements moving and get the quoting process going for products and get the technical manuals and certification, STC information, all of these important pieces to make them successful. And not really, the outside salesperson could just walk out the door of that customer and go on to the next one because they knew that they had this support from the inside sales. And that's really, once that you get into a rhythm and a pattern like that, it really can scale very, very quickly because they can go from having 2 meetings a day to having, 4 and 5 really, really good meetings a day because they know that their inside sales team is supporting them like that.
And is your outside to actually get those meetings? Are they just kind of dropping in and just more so showing up? Or are they scheduling meetings from cold calls ahead of time?
A little bit of both. So, regionally in California, there'll be like a lot of dealers on one field. So you can pop from dealer to dealer to dealer. But most of the time it does take a lot of research and work ahead of time to get that. And that's part of the inside sales jobs too, is to be able to research the companies and research the geography before the outside sales guys go and give them options, right? If this person cancels, you have the next one on the list. So being really strategic in their time resources and making sure that we're doing all of the research ahead of time to make them as successful as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of prep work.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's a very complex industry and there's a lot of different sellers constantly bombarding these prospects as well. So there's a lot of noise that you have to break through and overcome. And you guys have found a way to do it for the most part.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yep. And having, we talked a lot about this in our last meeting, but having like the patience, right? And this is going to be very long sales cycles sometimes, and developing enough balance within our channels and enough balance within the industry to kind of not have a seasonality and be, I wouldn't say that we're pandemic, that the pandemic didn't affect us, because it certainly has, but been able to reach into different resources all over the world to keep our revenue moving.
Yeah, definitely.
Really good.
Talk about that as well. What kind of pivots have you made amidst the pandemic and
Oop. Are you still there, Connor? Did you freeze or I froze?